Why do white people pay so much attention to black people if they don't like them? You would think if you didn't like something, why would you be paying attention to it? I don't pay attention to things I don't like.
There's a producer I know, successful producer. He says, women on film, either naked or dead. Both is better. You know, I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right.
Katt Williams warned us, and Mel Gibson just confirmed it. For years, Mel spoke out about the dark side of Hollywood, and his films exposed way more than some people were comfortable with.
You could say that Mel got blacklisted because although, you know, he is in a starring role in a movie like this, when you look at what he was doing before all the racist rants, and it's a whole different level.
Labeled, canceled, and pushed out, seems like it was all because he told the truth. And just like Katt said, speak up and they come for you.
A whole different realm of business. Oprah coming next.
So who really tried to bury Mel Gibson's career? And why does it sound a lot like the same game Katt Williams has been talking about for years? Let's find out. Katt Williams wasn't just throwing shade, he was sounding the alarm. And now, years later, Mel Gibson is proving that Katt's claims about Hollywood's shady underbelly weren't just wild conspiracy theories, they were warning signs. Katt has long been the loud, fearless voice calling out the manipulation, silence, and systemic takedowns within the entertainment industry. From secret power players to blacklisting anyone who dares to step out of line, Katt has always claimed that Hollywood is run by invisible forces who don't tolerate truth-tellers. And guess who's now echoing those very same sentiments? None other than Mel Gibson.
And the world's in a pretty bad way. It's been this bad before. It's gonna get that bad again. I mean, we seem to learn a lesson. Stings like a bitch. We behave for like...
Mel, once one of Hollywood's biggest stars, didn't just fall from grace, he was pushed. Behind the public controversies and tabloid scandals lies a darker story, one that Mel has only recently started peeling back. Rumors have long circulated that Gibson tried to expose what some call the Hollywood Nine segments, alleged secret factions that controlled different parts of the industry, from studio decisions to casting and even media narratives. These shadowy groups, as the theory goes, operate behind closed doors, pushing certain messages while silencing dissenting voices. While this remains a widely debunked and unverified theory, Gibson's career trajectory, his rise, his fall, and his constant struggle to return has kept the whispers alive. Some even believe these segments are the real reason Gibson was iced out of the mainstream spotlight.
You could say that Mel got blacklisted because although, you know, he is in a starring role in a movie like this, when you look at what he was doing before all the racist rants, and it's a whole different level.
Let's not forget the 2006 DUI incident that nearly tanked his career. On the surface, it was about Mel's drunken, anti-Semitic rant, but many now wonder if the scandal was used as a smokescreen to shut him up. Gibson had already ruffled feathers with The Passion of the Christ, a film that made Hollywood execs squirm for its unapologetic religious messaging and controversial content. Was his blacklisting really about his words that night, or was that just the perfect excuse to silence someone who was getting too close to the truth? Katt Williams has always said that if you challenge the system, they'll find a way to make the public turn on you. And in Mel's case, that might be exactly what happened.
I think he's a very intense, very unusual, eccentric guy. Like just being around him, you get this sense of his energy.
Insiders claim Gibson didn't stop at controversial religious films. Behind closed doors, he reportedly called out the dark side of Hollywood, the toxic power dynamics, the abuse of young actors, and the so-called casting couch culture. While none of these claims have been confirmed by Mel publicly, the idea that he spoke out and then found doors slammed shut is something that many in Hollywood gossip circles continue to believe. It seems that those who dared to speak about the legendary actor might have felt the icy winds of disapproval from some of Hollywood's elite. Recently, Mel Gibson has been toiling away on a rather controversial movie, and the latest buzz is quite the showstopper. Word on the street is that the film has achieved a jaw-dropping milestone, breaking the $150 million barrier at the box office, and its meteoric rise seems far from running out of steam.
And they don't have a lot of 3D special effects, but they do operate on a higher level.
Despite woke Hollywood and the liberal news media trying to rain on its parade, this film not only covered its costs, but also raked in a massive tenfold return. It's carving out a place in box office history as one of the most jaw-dropping successes ever. Rumors suggest that Gibson is gearing up to release a groundbreaking 4-part documentary series that will delve into the secretive world of global heinous crimes. According to sources at Newsweek, this stunning revelation aims to highlight the industry's staggering annual revenue of $34 billion, a figure so huge it's mind-boggling, surpassing even the yearly earnings of the airline industry. Here's Tim Ballantyne from Operation Underground, reportedly the main character in Gibson's movie. He's a key figure in the global fight against human trafficking and shared insights into Gibson's role in the project.
For Ukraine, got a phone call from Mel Gibson. He actually did the final edit of The Sound of Freedom. That's how we know each other, but not well enough that I'd be getting phone calls. And he told me that he was in Budapest.
This movie tells the true story of Tim Ballard. The backstory reveals that Tim, who had a background with the CIA and later joined the Department of Homeland Security, spent years targeting consumers of illicit material involving minors. Despite his efforts, he faced challenges in rescuing the children affected by exploitation. Tim described his experience. "I spent 12 years as a special agent, undercover operator for the Department of Homeland Security, focusing on child crimes, counterterrorism, and it evolved. In the early years, it was mostly cases involving individuals possessing and distributing illegal material. I always wondered, where are the kids? Watching these videos broke my heart. I had to witness and describe scenes that were devastating. There's a scene in the movie that particularly breaks my heart, where Jim is in tears as he recounts these horrific scenes involving children as young as 5, 6, or 7 years old. According to Angel Studios, which holds the licensing rights to the film, its purpose is to highlight the global movement to end trafficking of minors by effectively sharing this film with audiences worldwide. Back in 2007, Oprah Winfrey launched the Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, inspired by Nelson Mandela. It faced initial opposition from the South African government due to its high costs in a poorer area. When the school opened, its luxurious facilities like salons and gyms raised eyebrows. Over the years, scandals have surfaced at the school, but conspiracy theories about HT remain unsubstantiated. So Oprah built this $40 million school in South Africa, and they had 152 students attend. Oprah actually handpicked the 152 students who attended her school, but it wasn't long until some of these students were being harmed by one of the employees of the school. Her name is Virginia, and she was 27 years old at the time, and she was charged with 13 counts of getting inappropriate with the kids. Virginia got physical with at least 6 students aged 13 to 15. So these students were handpicked by Oprah to go and live at this academy. And one of these employees who is managing the dorm is physically touching them and doing things to them and harming them. The A scandal that has rocked Oprah Winfrey's South African school for girls does not reflect badly on the famous talk show host, wrote The Times, a Johannesburg newspaper, in an editorial. It reflects badly on this nation, and it should not be surprising that it manifested itself in Oprah's school. Oprah should not be condemned for allegations made against this matron. She should be praised for her decision to aggressively deal with it. This incident was a black mark for South Africa, which has had issues with children being harmed by school employees. Oprah's decision to place these students in harm's way by an employee she selected was deeply concerning. After the news about Virginia broke, Oprah took decisive action. She traveled to South Africa with a team of investigators to uncover the full extent of what had happened at the academy.
6 students of the 152 accepted students by Oprah to attend the institution, laying accusations on the dorm matron Virginia Tinley Mess.
So it's a good thing Oprah went down to that school in South Africa to investigate, because her name's all over it. And yeah, unfortunately, that Virginia employee got cleared of all charges. Justice systems, they're messed up everywhere, right? And get this, Virginia turned around and tried to sue Oprah for defamation, even though she was found innocent. But hey, that's not the only scandal to come out of Oprah's school. It's been one after another since it opened. Less than 2 years later, there was another incident where some students were involved in physical altercations. A 15-year-old urged the victims to keep quiet and not tell their parents or investigators. 7 students ended up suspended from the school for allegedly intimidating others and engaging in inappropriate behavior. A letter sent to one of the suspended girl's parents reportedly read, "You have been found guilty of physical contact of a S nature with another pupil on campus, H bullying other girls on campus, and of being dishonest by not telling investigators the whole truth." So people are puzzled why Oprah visited the school less than a year ago to sort things out, yet issues like this are still happening. How does a 15-year-old get away with pressuring their schoolmates into keeping quiet and lying to officials about it? And this next incident is even more disturbing. So apparently less than 2 years after that second scandal, cops found a dead newborn at Oprah's school in South Africa. One of Oprah's hand-picked students, who hasn't been identified yet, gave birth there. Instead of seeking help, she reportedly ended up putting the baby in her backpack. She had to go to the hospital later for bleeding, probably from giving birth in the school. It's a really sad and messed up situation. Oprah can't control everything in her students' lives, but she can choose who she associates with. So when some folks think of Oprah Winfrey, they can't help but think of Harvey Weinstein too. They've been linked for over 2 decades as friends. A lot of people argue that Oprah couldn't have not known about Weinstein's reputation, which has been shady since the 90s. When he faced all those accusations and cancellations, Oprah allegedly reached out to offer support, though her team denies it. But because of her longtime friendship and sympathy shown towards him, people wonder why Oprah would stick by someone like him, especially given his disgusting behavior. Now here's another celebrity Oprah brought into the limelight, John of God, this so-called healer. Oprah basically gave him credibility by featuring him on her show. But here's the creepy part. Turns out he's a criminal. John of God had this healing center in Brazil where he claimed to use spiritual powers to help people, but instead, he was abusing them. It's unsettling that Oprah's pals seem to include all these shady characters who harm others. There's this awful story about him where he assaulted a woman during a private session at his center. He'd manipulate vulnerable people, using his supposed healing powers for his own selfish gains. Oprah's show gave him a ton of success and new clients, which is really disturbing considering what he was up to. Yeah, it all went down in 2010 during Oprah's "Do You Believe in Miracles?" segment where she interviewed John of God. That definitely boosted his profile and gave him a lot more fame. But then we found out he was a total creep. Oprah did say she empathizes with the women who spoke out against him, but the damage was already done. And you're right, there are other rumors out there about Oprah and some of her other connections, like Jeffrey Epstein. But apparently it affected Gibson in some ways. Even his own brother, Donald Gibson, has hinted that Hollywood fundamentally changed Mel. He's spoken about how Mel was different after years in the industry and seemed to have been shaped, or perhaps broken, by his interactions with powerful insiders. There's this lingering idea that Gibson knew things, saw things, and when he tried to speak or act on them, the machinery of Hollywood turned against him. It didn't help that at one point, fake quotes began circulating online, falsely attributing to Gibson's statements accusing the industry of being run by pedophile rings. While those quotes were later debunked, they added gasoline to the fire, fueling suspicions that Gibson's exile was about more than just bad press. It was about dangerous truth-telling. But honestly, if you look back at the past, you will be reminded Oprah has been at the center of a number of controversies, from allegations that she engages in smear campaigns against her critics and sabotages their careers to the more disturbing claims that she is involved in human tea in this industry.
Oprah legitimized the notorious sex criminal Joe Teixeira, aka John of God, as a miraculous faith healer, one who could cure cancer.
And not only this, child stars have also been victim to CM by the executives. Lately, Corey Feldman has been quite outspoken about the ways in which Hollywood can exploit young talents, often with the help of their handlers. In recent months, a series of revelations has shown a glaring light on various facets of Hollywood, from the behavior of the industry's elite to the E of individuals, as notably highlighted in Mel Gibson's controversial film.
I'm saying that there are people that were the people that did this to both me and Corey that are still working, they're still out there, and they're some of the richest, most powerful people in this.
In 2013, Corey Feldman demonstrated immense courage by publishing a memoir where he openly chronicled the maltreatment that he and his co-star, Corey Haim, had endured at the hands of influential figures within Hollywood. Astonishingly, Feldman revealed that these took place when they were merely 11 to 13 years old, shedding light on the dark shadows that can loom over young actors in the entertainment industry.
Okay, well, she makes it sound so easy and harmless, I might as well. If my mom's doing it, how bad could it be, you know?
Feldman's disclosures about the A and E he endured throughout his career, notably during his formative years, extended beyond his time in Hollywood. He bravely articulated that his battles with substance A in his later life were, at least in part, a direct consequence of the trauma he had faced during those challenging early years. His story underscores the lasting impact that such experiences can have on individuals.
We had fun. It was like, we were talking, we were sitting in this girl's apartment. She takes me out driving. She taught me how to drive a stick shift, high on cocaine for the first time.
Corey has been revealing alleged dark activities within Hollywood from the outset. However, as it became apparent that he was becoming increasingly outspoken, certain individuals within the industry began to suppress his voice, preventing him from further disclosure. One of those individuals was Barbara Walters.
And they do not want me saying what I'm saying right now.
Are you saying that they're pedophiles?
Yes.
Barbara Walters, renowned for her probing interviews, might have pushed the boundaries in a recently unearthed video clip from an October 2013 episode of The View. During the segment, the seasoned media personality delved into the sensitive topic of Corey Feldman's past A experiences. Feldman had appeared on the show to discuss his memoir, Choreography.
Yeah, and that's what you were saying in your book. When you talk to when you talk to
They don't want
parents,
me here right now.
He further went on saying, they would throw these parties where you'd walk in, and it would be mostly kids, and there would be a handful of adult men. They would also be at the film awards and children's charity functions. Many observers remarked that Barbara Walters appeared to prioritize Hollywood's reputation over Corey Feldman's allegations of childhood SA during her interview with him.
An entire industry.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to say that it's a very important, serious...
Furthermore, Leonardo DiCaprio has also found himself under the spotlight for his romantic entanglements with partners significantly younger than him. It seems that he currently leans toward relationships with individuals who are younger, rather than seeking companionship with women of his own age or older.
DiCaprio creepy, actually. This.
Yeah.
Going out with people, easily young enough to be his daughter.
However, numerous individuals have pondered the reasons behind Caprio's frequent association with dating younger women and the perception of him as a predator. Intriguingly, some sources indicate that his preference for younger partners might be rooted in his own past experiences, where he allegedly found himself the target of older individuals when he was younger. It's a fact that Leonardo initiated his career as a child actor, dipping his toes into the world of commercials at a tender age. However, it's vital to acknowledge the challenges that young performers often face in the unforgiving landscape of Hollywood. The entertainment industry can be an incredibly daunting place for aspiring talents, especially for individuals like Leonardo, who didn't come from privileged backgrounds and were resolute in their pursuit of fame and success in Tinseltown. Although there's no official confirmation, there has been speculation that Leonardo could have been one of Brian Peck's victims. Leonardo and Brian collaborated on several occasions when Leonardo was younger. As many are aware, Brian Peck was exposed and convicted of SA, a young actor he was coaching at his home. Back then, this issue wasn't publicized, and the actor's identity was never disclosed, being referred to as John Doe, in line with standard practice in such cases. However, executive producer of an explosive documentary once said, "There's an iceberg of child SA in Hollywood, and you're starting to see it come to the surface." As we observe the situation, it's important to note that there has been no official confirmation regarding whether Leonardo DiCaprio was the young actor who experienced A by Brian Peck, or if he was indeed a victim. During an interview, Elijah spilled tea on a really serious matter going on in the industry. He said, clearly something major was going on in Hollywood. It was all organized. There are a lot of vipers in this industry, people who only have their own interests in mind. There is darkness in the underbelly. If you can imagine it, it's probably happened. Add to that Gibson's outspoken Christian beliefs and conservative political stance, and you've got a recipe for conflict. In an industry known for leaning left, Mel was suddenly the odd man out. Too controversial, too old-fashioned, and too unwilling to play the game. Katt Williams has always said that Hollywood only protects those who obey the script, and Gibson clearly wasn't interested in reading from theirs. His religiously driven work, especially his attempts to create a sequel to The Passion of the Christ, faced countless delays and supposed studio interference. Many believe the industry is intentionally stalling the project, not because of its content, but because of who's behind it. And let's not forget the theory that Gibson was one of the earliest victims of what we now call cancel culture. Long before it became a mainstream concept, Mel was being dragged through the mud, stripped of opportunities, and branded as problematic. Sound familiar? Katt himself has faced similar pushback for calling out the hypocrisy and corruption in showbiz. Both men, in very different ways, challenged the system, and both paid the price.
Are you not afraid about being blackballed again? These are some power people.
What do you mean again? These people are not powerful. Satan can't create anything. That includes blessings for his people.
There are even rumors that Gibson has quietly tried to stage a comeback, taking smaller roles, producing indie projects, and trying to ease back into the industry without stirring the pot. But every time he makes a move, it's met with subtle resistance. Studio doors remain closed, projects fall through, and the media keeps bringing up the same decades-old controversies. The whispers say it's not by accident. Some believe that powerful figures are working behind the scenes to make sure Gibson never fully returns. Mel Gibson stirred up more controversy when he shared his thoughts on the devastating wildfires in Los Angeles that destroyed thousands of homes and killed at least 24 people. In an interview with Fox News, Gibson said the whole situation seemed suspicious to him, especially the fact that there was no water available to help put out the fires. I can come up with all kinds of crazy theories in my head, conspiracy theories, and everything else, but it just felt too convenient that there was no water, he said. Fire officials later explained that with so many fires burning at once, too many hoses were using the water supply, which caused low pressure and made it hard to fight the flames. Gibson also lost his $14.5 million home in the fires, along with many other celebrities, also suggested that the wind conditions were perfect for spreading fire, and hinted that maybe some people were ready and willing to start the fires on purpose. Still, Gibson wasn't convinced. He floated the idea that the fires might have been set on purpose, wondering if arsonists were commissioned by someone or simply acting on their own. He added, "What could it be? What do they want? Is the state empty? I don't know." Gibson's comments come as he continues to deal with the fallout from past controversies. Since 2006, he's faced major backlash over anti-Semitic and racist remarks, as well as criticism of the Passion of the Christ, which many accused of pushing anti-Semitic tropes. Despite apologizing and defending the film, Gibson's reputation in Hollywood took a major hit, with major studios distancing themselves from him for years. Now, with wildfires raging and Gibson raising eyebrows once again, the spotlight is back, not just on the disaster, but on the man who's never been afraid to say the quiet part out loud. But this whole scenario can end up Mel in a whole differently dangerous situation. So when Katt Williams says they'll destroy you if you don't play along, Mel Gibson is the living proof. Whether you believe the theories or not, there's no denying that both men have been targeted, mocked, and marginalized for saying the kinds of things Hollywood once buried. And now that Mel is finally starting to name names and speak out again, it's clear that the game isn't over, it's just getting exposed. That's it for today. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.